Today, BLM mobs strike the RNC. A lot more coming up. Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Friday. Just wanted to do a shout out to the loyal patrons as well as you, the subscribers, and say thank you so much for the time and for your coming in today. Also, welcome and thank you to the Periscope followers. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys for all that you do and for all of your loyalty and time spent here on Black Spring with Autumn. And yes, it is Friday, and I appreciate you guys for spending time this week. So just want to just get a little bit of housekeeping. Every now and then we have to do these things. So if you are out there, welcome. And I'd like to give a warm shout out to the loyal patrons, Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, Let the Truth Be Told, Cold War Jesus, AZ Infidel. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. Also, good morning. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing that out. And thank you guys for taking care with your channelytics as you do so well around here. And also, I just want to do this point of housekeeping that I don't particularly like to do, but apparently it's necessary. So let's just get down to it. Now, I want to give you guys a chance to get in here because I don't want to, I'm not going to repeat myself more than twice. And I'm not going, and then after today, then it'll just be a one announcement trick and we're out. So shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thank you so much for coming in and for all that you do to support the channel. I also want to say, if you are new and whether you are driving by or if you're listening to this in replay, or if you are driving by with the windows down, not quite sure if you're coming in, whether you're on Periscope or whether you're already here in the center control, which is the YouTube channel, then I want to encourage you to check out the community tab for an update on the rules of engagement. And also, moderators, I implore you to do as needed, what's needed around here. So for those of you that are regulars here, for those of you that are regulars around here, you are familiar with what we do here, what the format is, what it could be. But you certainly, for those that are new and not familiar with the way things are done around here, you want to check out the community tab without a doubt, and check out the updates and just generally. Shout out to Celia as I Want to Be. Thank you so much for coming in on your Friday. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you, Celia. Yes, shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H as well as Silly as I Want to Be. And I just want to say this also, first and foremost, I'm not going to take up a lot of time. Of course, this is not a normally scheduled streams. The stream schedule right now is Monday, Wednesdays at 9. And this is somewhat of a flash, but a little bit more, just a little bit more substantial than that. Thank you so much. I saw that Chrysler Imperial H. Yes. I want to connect the dots just briefly here and direct them there, because when you come here, whether you're new or what, you're always welcome to come here. But the format of the show, it is as it stands. Occasionally we have guests that come on. And I encourage those of you that are familiar with the show and that know a little bit about the show and what we do here, and a little bit about me, that you know what works and what doesn't work. So we don't want to entertain any spams or troll. We don't serve troll juice around here. We're just not going to be doing any of that. So those of you in blue, you know what to do. You have anything, if you're not sure, then, if you're not sure, then that's when you can maybe want to reach out to me. But, I think you guys you're a pretty good, but good judge of etiquette in here. And it's not demanding. I really don't think that the standards are too high, but I think some people, they tend to get a little bit over jealous and overzealous, jealous. Yikes. Okay. Getting the consonants a little screwy already today. So shout out to everybody in the stream. So I'll go ahead and move on. So I just want to we're going to kind of lead in. We're going to lead in with a little bit of political analysis. This week has been fully loaded, if I might add. We came out of last week with one convention, and then this week we came out of the end of the RNC just last evening. And of course, I think, there's, I don't know if I want to say that there's a shift, but I think there's definitely, I think because of the format and the style of the RNC and the final night, I think many Americans are starting to see what they've missed out. I think the committee planned this in a way that, they basically had 4 days, 3 to 4 days to catch up on all of the policy and all of the measures and all of the things that the president has been doing throughout the year that hasn't been covered on mainstream media. So I think the left is not really taking that so well, because all they could do was banter, mock, kick, scream, and cut to their version to fact checking. Shout out to Chrysler Imperial H. Thank you so much. So this is just a bit of my assertion, or a bit of my what I'm calling an opening statement, which is just an assertion or a little bit on the. I have some sound bites and some audio clips for you, per usual, and we'll check those out. And then you're going to get a little bit of a firsthand at the reaction you're going to get a reaction from actual audience viewers that were actually tuned in for that actual convention. So I think that they did of course, I think it was, heads and tails above, the left's presentation. I still can't quite grasp what that was. But anyway, I think it was most effective what was done at the RNC. And I think, I don't know if it's a wake-up call to anyone, but I think if you're not quite waking up right now, then you're probably, some people are going to be left behind, and some people would unfortunately, some people, I think, prefer to reside in a place that's not very, very hopeful or very positive. And they just, because I've said this before, I think that the left, they attract a certain demographic of personalities, certain groups of people. And I don't see a lot of joy and a lot of peace in that. I don't see it for them. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Touchdown Sean. Shout out to you, Touchdown Sean. Thank you so much for coming in. So yeah. So we'll go ahead and I'll take the liberty. So this is just my I guess I can say officially my opening statement would be, perhaps we can all, raise our standards or increase our lot of truth, if you will, because the truth is so complex and so thick these days. I mean, perhaps it's or maybe it's not. Maybe it's been thick and dense and complex all the time. It's just we've had to face it with the confluence of everything that's going on. We've had to. You have to, because some people, they kind of shrug their shoulders and oh, well, it's not in my neighborhood, or oh, well, we don't have that problem here. So and I don't. That's yeah. To me, that's a little bit head in the sand, or yeah, that's not. I think if one city has a problem, if one state has a problem, I think it's an American problem. I don't think it's one. I don't think it's a one. It's a. I don't think it's a state contained, or just. I don't think so. So shout out to everybody in the stream. And so I don't know, are you so the other thing is that the scale, when we increase our lot of truth and searching for the truth, I mean, the scale of what we're seeing, some, I do believe, on the left, they want you to believe what you're told instead of what you're seeing. And that's more of a Marxist revolutionary, or even communism is what I've called it. Yeah, some people might think that's extreme, but I think it's actually more accurate. This is not that there's. I say this all the time, and I'm not the originator of this. There's nothing new under the sun. And first you don't succeed, then you try it again. So shout out to everybody in the stream. At times, I'm not sure if people are aware of the height of government. It doesn't really just stop at President Trump. It doesn't. It just doesn't. And the design of tyranny, or a tumultuous disorder. There's actually people and groups and organizations behind these things. I mean, I guess I'm even, maybe even on a dimensional. I don't know, how many tiers do you want to go up? Shout out to Tony Anderson. Thank you so much for coming in. In fact, I had a friend of mine tell me, "Oh, well, I don't know why, so and so wants to move to Arizona. They have an immigration problem too." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "What do you mean they have an immigration problem? If there's a problem with immigration, it's an American problem. It's not. It's to me, that's not. I wouldn't use the word problem, but those were his words. Even though I'm paraphrasing, he did say it. He did state it, that it was a problem. But there needs to be reform, and it wouldn't be just a reform. It wouldn't just be a one state reform. I don't think that would be the answer or the solution. You need viable solutions, but you have to have a viable approach, and just not just drop it on one one state, or one set of shoulders. Shout out to Old Head Deuce. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys. And can we face the fact, that what we see is maybe, quote, ahistorical to America, but not so much to the rest of the world. We do have immigrants here, legal immigrants here. We witnessed an immigration ceremony during the RNC. But we have enough people here that have immigrated here legally and have actually fled from places of conflict, or whether it's tyranny, or whether it's communism, socialism. We have enough testimony, we have enough examples. But because I'm going to be honest, with everything that was, with even the choreographed, or even the programming of the RNC, some of the main people that needed to watch it, unfortunately, did not watch it. but you did. But with that said, I'm going to, that's going to kind of I'll segue us into our first soundbite today. And it's going to come from a C-SPAN. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to the truth. Let the truth be told. Hope you're doing well. Let me just, thank you so much. Let the truth be told says it is more easier to believe a lie than the truth. The truth can be hard to swallow. Truth is always hard to understand if a person continues in lies. Thank you so much. Let the truth be told. And Tony Anderson says, my boyfriend is from Trinidad. He loves his country and works hard. Excellent, Tony. Well, I think what happens, we have, we have a virus, and I think the virus is more of a liberal virus is what I think. And it has permeated institutions, education, and it is their goal to continue to do that. I'll tell you, some of the first experiences that immigrants have, whether they come via student visa or whatever, and it's from the colleges. It's from they're getting their first experiences from the colleges. They come in all empowered or all excited about their American experience. And then they get to the college, and then they realize, and then they become miserable, or they become victims, or they have these professors that act out on them from the pulpits. Social justice warriors, they're more focused. You see these flyers and things all over. That's one of the things I noticed. See flyers all over the place all of the time, and you may not pay attention to every single one of them, but these are the kinds of things that are, it's a distraction. It's a distraction from whatever, even if they don't know what they want to, what their ultimate career goals are. How can they focus on anything with all these auxiliaries and all the rhetoric and the propaganda? To me, it's kind of it's a culture vulture, almost like you having tons of credit card companies showing up, trying to entice kids into taking on debt as students. To me, it's no different. So shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and wrap out on this opening statement here. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So yeah, for those of you who are just coming in, we're just talking about just a little bit of the confluence of all the things that are going on between pandemic and politics and newspeak. The newspeak is like the rioters masquerading as protesters, mobs. You have, and I've said this before, you do have people with people that have legitimate grievances, or dare I say, good people on both sides. Now, is that impossible, or what? Can you have nonviolent? Is it possible to have nonviolent people on both sides of an argument? Is that possible? I'm just asking. People that are not trying to destroy anything, they're just there to support their argument. They agree or they disagree. And somehow Trump saying that in Charlottesville, I've heard Charlottesville, I've heard all kinds of pronunciations of that city name, some that I've never heard before. In fact, I stumbled onto one myself. But that turned into a 4-year attack. I'm just thinking, my gosh, you guys are really, you guys are scraping the barrel. You managed to make, how did you manage to make a 3.5, 4-year-old propaganda or out of context soundbite last for 4 years? People have been known to make a cup of coffee last a long time, but that particular soundbite that's been debunked, but they just keep trotting it out there. Keep trotting it out there. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So we're going to go ahead and just go spot on. I have two specific sound bites I want to get into right away. And first, I'm going to bring you the sound bite of we have a caller. We have a caller and a reaction from the RNC. I want to thank everybody for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. If you are new here, welcome. And shout out to everyone over on Periscope. And shout out to Chrysler Imperial for throwing that extra caution to the wind and sharing out the stream. Thank you so much for all that you do. And shout out to Silly As I Wanna Be. It's nice to see you here. Shout out to Tony Anderson. Shout out to Touchdown Sean. Shout out to Touchdown Sean, who says, I have a dear friend that keeps me informed on the things that are happening in America, and I'm seeing everything she said. Hey, well, that's a plus. That makes a difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take you guys to a bit of what I'm calling a testimonial. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Friday. Thank you guys so much for coming in and taking care with the channelytics, hitting the thumbs up or the thumbs down. I really appreciate that. And we'll keep going. Thanks so much, guys.
Democrat. Hi, Rick.
How you doing tonight? I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm from Lorain, Ohio, which is a Democrat city in Ohio. And I just want to say, after watching the convention tonight on TV, on C-SPAN here, I am definitely changing my vote to Republican. And I'll tell you what, they just put the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to shame. I'm going to follow the Republican Party now.
But why? What was it that convinced you about tonight?
It was the heartfelt way they came across to the American people. And I was really touched by the number of times they used the word God. They put God into everything. And the people on the Democratic side on their convention act like they were pushing God right out of it. And that had a lot to do with changing my mind.
Now, Rick, did you say you were a union member?
No, sir. I'm from Lorain, Ohio, and we are a Democrat town here and have been for 50 years.
That's it. Thank you so much.
And thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So there you had, it looks like you had a panel from, well, you had an open line, which posed the question after watching the convention, of course, how do you view another 4 years of a Trump presidency? So, of course, they had the designated lines for Republicans, Democrats, others, text. They even had, of course, your social media hacks, Twitter and Facebook. So that was your C-SPAN on that. Shout out to everybody in the stream. And while I'm on the spot on the politics, why not go to yours truly, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. And I don't know if you could see this coming, but she's kind of projected that maybe there won't be any debates for Joe Biden. She's asking you to be covert about it. Shh, shh. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll take you there right now.
About that. I myself just don't tell anybody I told you this, especially don't tell Joe Biden. I don't think that there should be any debates. I do not think that the President of the United States has comported himself in a way that anybody should, and that has any association with truth, evidence, data, and facts. I wouldn't I wouldn't legitimize a conversation with him nor a debate in terms of the presidency of the United States. Now, I know that the Biden campaign thinks in a different way about this, but I thought what he did in the 2016 was disgraceful, stalking Hillary Clinton like that. I was disappointed that the press didn't say, go back to your station.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you're looking at the screen or if you're driving by, but you notice that they've look at the look at the shot. Look at the action shot. Now you gotta zoom in pretty well to get this shot from 2016. Now, I'm not sure where you guys are, where you were in 2016 on your positions, or I don't know any of that. But I'm just thinking anything to sell the rhetoric, right? So yeah, okay, yeah. So now Trump is being depicted here, as far as I can see, as like a bull charging in a pen or something ridiculous. But yeah, this is what they do. They capture a shot like that and so get back in your cell. You got your own cell. She's got her own cell. And I'm just thinking, people walk away from podiums all the time. How many, like, are they, I mean, is it the amateur hour? You know, they really, I will say this, they really need to do better trolling Trump. If that's what their game is. If that's the game, it's weak. They might need to step it up. And I'm just thinking, maybe, and speaking of this, maybe they are just not, they have yet to concede from 2016. It's just been a butthurt concert. So with that said, I will not interrupt you again. It's not my thing, not my favorite thing to do. But shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in.
You're not here. You're not on this stage. You have your own podium. She has hers. So I think that he'll probably act in a way that is beneath the dignity of the presidency. He does that every day. But I think he will also belittle what the debates are supposed to be about. And they're not to be about the skullduggery on the part of somebody who has no respect for the office he holds, much less the democratic process. Why else would he try to undermine the elections in the manner in which he is doing?
Once again, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Friday. So, if you got if you strong stomach for all the projection and the rhetoric there, some people have said they're not surprised that they would rather Biden not debate Trump. And I don't know, you can't quite teleprompt the questions or the answers, right? Shout out to everybody in the stream. In fact, I think we saw the ghost of the of the question floater, Donna Brazil, a couple of days ago, and I still can't believe that Fox News actually hired her. That was honestly, if you needed a litmus test, you had plenty in 2016. You had plenty in 2016. That party that has eaten its own and spit them out and cut them up and rebuilt and started life over on them. I mean, how do you survive that? It's their own. It's their own civilization. When they figure it's not important or there's nothing to preserve, when you're useless, they just cut you up, start over again, and build right on top of you. Steamroll you. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Tony Anderson says they are scared. Ooh, silly ass says, where's Adam Schiff hiding with? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's building impeachment 3.0, 4. Which one are we on? I don't know. But I know it's getting to be a little bit of a frustration for people with all the fallacies and false narratives that came out of that impeachment. But I don't know if there's some chance maybe some people actually woke up within the last 4 days. Maybe they experienced a Trump presidency in 4 nights. It's pretty remarkable. If you've been slighted, or I don't know. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Touchdown Sean says Nancy really has no foundation and goal when she speaks. She's just only a filibuster. Yes, I can see that. You're right on. Right on. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to what I find to be interesting. We're going to go to the Gateway Pundit. And actually that is, you saw the thumbnail coming in. And the thumbnail actually features a guillotine that was in front of the White House during the acceptance speech. So I'm going to take you guys over to that story. Hope you guys are doing well on your Friday. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So let's take you over to the GP. I'm going to answer this question really quick. Silly ass says, serious question. If Obama is found guilty of treason, is it racist to want to see him hung? Racist? Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Every now and then that happens around here. Sorry about that. Racist, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't use that word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to I'm going to give you a bit of the landscaping from the Gateway Pundit, and then we'll take a look at some footage from there. So we'll have some sound bites, give you a little bit of landscaping here, but we'll lead in with the landscape here, and then you can see. We also have a bit of an accosting culture going on. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena, Chrysler. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Yes, I'm trying to, I don't know. I think I've gotten a couple of rant requests, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's go on over to the Gateway Pundit. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. I'm going to take you there right now. Hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. All right. So what you see here is, besides a bunch of ads. All right. So here we have, as a protesters stage execution of President Trump with guillotine in front of the White House during the acceptance speech. So what is this? The French Revolution? It's a mocking, right? It's a mocking of the French Revolution. Well, that's projection, okay? It's a projection. It's very theatrical. It's very much, some people are just residents of their own utopian mind. I'm convinced they're not here with us. They are not here with us. I see. I can give you a quote from Che Guevara. Be realistic. Demand the impossible. End quote. All right. So with that said, let me bring you into this. Now, this is guillotine in front of the White House. A protester stage execution of President Trump with a guillotine in front of White House during acceptance speech. Now, this was written by Kristen Taylor. Let's just have a look at this one. Okay. So, of course, as President Trump gave his speech Thursday night on the South Lawn, protesters gathered on the north side, the White House on Black Lives Matter Plaza, putting an effigy of Trump in a guillotine for a mock execution. All right. So I'll be bringing some of those sound bites as well as some images for those of you that are tuning in. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to Philip J. Turner. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you guys so much for taking care with the Channelytics today. It is nothing short of support. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's go on over. Let's get back here. Appreciate you guys as always. All right. So, okay, you have your videography and your photos taken by reporters. All right. So we're going to do, this actually comes from Twitter. Agitators also chased out a cameraman from the area near the White House. They threatened to beat him up and destroy his camera. So let's go ahead and rock with that, as they say. Hope that's not too brash for you. And we can rock or we can roll with this. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right, guys, I just wanted to just tag in just a second there so you can see a little bit of what's going on there. You can see a little bit what's happening there. The poor camera guy, I don't know. Maybe he thought they were CNN. I don't know. Maybe MSN. I don't know. But we'll keep going. So there you're getting an idea of coverage when someone tries to cover I just think that, for the lack of a better word, the mask is off. I want to plain speak when necessary. I don't want to give you idioms. I want to be as genuine as honest as I can be. The mask is off. When it comes to the media coverage, the effort to suppress news. Shout out to Tony Anderson. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming in. So we'll go on. We got a couple more here. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. All right. And so right now, what you have before you is the guillotine. Okay. And you're going to have some coverage here. This is on the ground. This is from Julio Rosas on the ground in front of the White House at Town Hall Com. A large number of protesters are out here as Trump is getting ready to accept the nomination. So I will advise you that the language here might be a little bit explicit with expletives. So, uh, you know, enter at your own risk or hide the kids. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So there you go. You got your I don't know, your insurgents, your protesters, your I don't know, newspeak. How many things? How many terms can I throw at it? That's what you got there. So that was outside of the RNC. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right. And I want to turn the attention just a little bit to a concept that was a part of the Democrat primary candidate, Andrew Yang. He had this idea of course, the universal basic income. Well, today looks like we've got a pilot program going on in Europe right now. So, is this coming to the US? I guess that's going to be up to the American people whether we're going to be a part of the trial or not. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that to you guys. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming in on your Saturday. I appreciate you guys for all that you do. So we're going to go right over to what I consider it's pretty consistent. It's pretty consistent. You can get, to me, this is almost like real time what the progressives and the liberals are promoting it. It's very clear. They make no, as they say, bones about it. So right now we're going to go to the Germany trials of a universal basic income for 120 citizens. Okay, so that's coming from weforum.org. Okay, Agenda 2020. Okay, so you have the nice German flag here. All right, so here again we talk about what the technocrats and the sustainability. So this article here is cited as a part of the Sustainable Development Impact Summit. Okay, so this was written by Adam Payne. Apparently he's a journalist for the Business Insider. Okay, so the trial was funded by 140,000 private donations. So imagine who follow the money, right? All right, so it says starting this week, 120 Germans will receive a form of a universal basic income every month for 3 years. Get that, ladies and gentlemen, for 3 years. All right, so for 3 years, and the volunteers will get monthly payments of 1,200 euro or about $1,400 as part of a study testing a universal basic income. The study will compare the experiences of the 120 volunteers with 1,380 people who do not receive the payments. All right, supporters say it would reduce inequality and improve well-being, while opponents argue it would be too expensive and discourage work. All right, so Germany is about to become the latest country to trial a universal basic income, starting a 3-year study of how it affects the economy and recipients' well-being. As part of the study, 120 people will receive 1,200 euro or about $1,430 each month for 3 years, an amount just above Germany's poverty line. And researchers will compare their experiences with another group of 1,380 people who will not receive the payments. The study conducted by the German Institute for Economic Research has been funded by 140,000, again, private donations. Okay, according to this, all participants will be asked to complete questionnaires about their lives, work, and emotional state to see whether a basic income has had a significant impact. Universal basic income is the idea that a government should pay a lump sum of money to each of its citizens, usually once a month, regardless of their income or employment status, effectively replacing means tested benefits. Its proponents argue that it would reduce inequality and improve well being by providing people more financial security. Its opponents say it would be too expensive and discourage people from going to work. The idea has gained traction in recent years amid financial crisis and growing inequality in some Western countries. Jürgen Schupp, who's leading the study, told the German newspaper Der Spiegel that it would improve the debate about universal basic income by producing new scientific evidence. Quote, the debate about the basic income has so far been like a philosophical salon in a good moments and a war of faith in bad times, end quote, he told the newspaper. Quote, it is on both sides shaped by cliches. Opponents claim that with a basic income, people would stop working in order to dull on the couch with fast food and streaming services. Sound like what's going on right now? Proponents argue that people will continue to do fulfilling work, become more creative and charitable, and save democracy. It's a noble idea, right? That everybody's just going to continue to work, finger paint all day, go down and volunteer to feed the homeless and register people to vote. Okay, that's my addition there, but I'll go on here. Quote, incidentally, these stereotypes also flow into economic simulations as assumptions about the supposed cost and benefit of a basic income. Quote, we can improve this if we replace these stereotypes with empirically proven knowledge and can therefore lead a more appropriate debate, end quote. A pro-basic income lobbying group called Mein Grundeinkommen is funding the experiment. The group has used donations from its supporters to fund 1,000 euro payments for 668 people since 2014. So there you go. You've already got a study going on, and with similar methodology. Okay, in Finland, experimented with a form of basic income nearly 2 years, from January 2017 to December 2018. 2,000 unemployed Finns received about 560 euro a month. But the researchers behind the trial concluded that while it led people out of work feeling happier, it did not lead to increased employment, the BBC reported. Okay, so there you have that. So I don't know. How about you guys? You guys interested in a universal basic income, or is that a non-starter for you? Shout out to everybody in the stream. Hope you're doing well. Okay, and we have another clip. So I just wanted to give you that. I guess that's an international palate cleanser for you, if you will. But what I want to take you to is to something that is what I foresee as being problematic. That these minions were staged outside of the RNC, not just for, they will engage anybody that they see. And I'm going to take you to that clip. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for taking care with the channelytics. Appreciate you guys for coming in, and shout out to anyone that's tuning in from Periscope. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. So we're going to go over to another clip in which We had an accosting of congressmen during the RNC or after post RNC. So shout out to everybody in the stream. It's going to be taking you there. Okay. So in this particular stream, this is Senator Rand Paul cornered and chased by apparently BLM. All right. So we'll see what that looks like. So so before I go into this, I mean, how much longer? It looks like, they're starting to flip the narrative or whatever. They're starting to acknowledge the left and their mainstream hacks are starting to acknowledge that this violence is actually happening, that this is not a result of peaceful protesters. It's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of that coverage here. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for all that you do.
You should be sad of who you are. You should be sad about who you are. It's in your state. Anything that's liquid. Actually, I have chemical weapons. Your whole face.
All right, guys. So there you can see you can see the chaos and the mob. It's the mob, the mobbery. And yeah, I just don't think that this I really don't think that this is going to be something that's going to continue. It can't continue at the level that it is. Shout out to everybody in the stream. It can't. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Crazy Chick Sheena says, we know there's some job applications need to be handed out. Yeah. So, I think, I saw a little bit of coverage of Rachel Maddow. All they can do is mock and try to belittle and just petty insults. I don't know how anybody can watch those shows with that kind of an energy. Like there's just no, they would cut in, for people that were trying to watch that. with less interruptions, they probably had to go to alternative sources. And I think luckily you had a couple of networks that picked it up, but picking it up without a fact checker was necessary. I think I saw, yeah, I think the last night was pretty phenomenal. That the way that the structure of everything, I think it was really well done, and I think the speeches were pretty solid throughout the entire convention. And then you had Americans on the stage. They didn't bring you Eva Longoria or somebody or some Hollywood deletes. They didn't bring you those. You got real people. You had loggers, you had farmers, you had, these are the people that carry the middle class. You had real people. Not fake and somebody that's obviously, I respect anybody's right to dye their hair or whatever, but somebody that looks like they're going through something, negativity, just gross, just like, oh my gosh, the what can I say? The insane asylum and all the people running it were on the DNC. I mean, yikes. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right, guys. So I'm going to drop a link here. I'm seeing this is an invitation for anybody that may want to make a comment. If you're not comfortable with doing a camera, then of course I think the avatar is available. So if you are interested, and I think we're going to pretty much be wrapping up here in just a few minutes. Hope everybody's doing well. But yes, I do think there's a lot of work to be done. And I think that the fireworks were absolutely spectacular, and the opera performance was fantastic. I even heard they were comparing that to a dictatorship. I'm like, do you guys have no peace? It's just a bitter, like, why is everything that they offer like a gossip rag? Why is it always just bitter gossip? Why is it? They didn't really debunk anything. They didn't fact check anything. It was just bitter projection, a broken record. What they've been doing for the past 4 years, almost for 4 years, the same record. Same record, same players, same auxiliaries. Yeah. You said we miss Autumn Rants. Wrap up means 15 minutes more. All right. So it sounds like you guys are you're talking rants right now. So what I'm going to say is that, it's nice to see that there are still, people that believe in not only the founding principles, but, they haven't lost their faith or whatever. They haven't lost it. But I have seen some people with testimony, especially the call that we played earlier, where people are saying, look, it looks like the left's taking God out of everything, and it looks like they're putting it back in. And you had so many inspiring people speaking, and they were real life stories, people that came from nothing and made something of themselves. I mean, nobody said it was going to be easy. Nobody says that for anybody. You can't guarantee, no one, I don't think you can't, I don't think there's an equal outcome that you can predict at 100%. Even in the United States of America, the government cannot predict equal outcomes for any of us. None of us. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Yeah, Crazy Chick Sheena. I find that surprising. I really didn't realize that they were a leftist state. I really didn't. I had no idea. Philip J. Turner says, my faith in leadership has been greatly emboldened. 4 more years. So shout out to everybody in the stream. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that came in. Shout out to Tony Anderson. I think Tony had to leave. Thank you so much for coming in. Celia, as I want to be. Shout out to Let the Truth Be Told. That's so apropos. Your name change there. Will they let the truth be told? Will they? Imagine that. Let the truth be told. Okay. And then we have Touchdown Sean. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you. Shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. Thank you, Crazy Chick Sheena, for all that you do and all your support. I really appreciate it. Let's see. And so we'll see. Shout out to Philip J. Turner, a new face around here. Thank you so much for coming in. And I will have a review for you soon. Shout out to everybody in the stream. All right, guys. So I guess closing remarks. Closing remarks might be your rant. It might go something like the opening of today. I would say think for yourself. And I would say if you are around, what's the saying? How does it go? Now, there's a couple of different ways I can do this. One way, what is it that they say? You become either guilty by association, or you think you will become like the people that you hang out with, that you're around. I think that's very true. And then the second one is something that sounds a little bit more seedy. If you lie down with dogs and you get up with fleas. So I'm just thinking, if you're in any of those, if you're in a position in which you're lying down, if you're doing anything like that, then you might need to remove yourself from that situation and try to surround yourself by people that are moving forward. I think the discernment nowadays, people don't know the difference between, what, no matter what your craft is or what your profession is, it's sometimes admiring somebody else for either being more successful or making more money or being more talented. It's more of a point in which you can learn something from somebody. It's not a point to channel that into envy or jealousy. I would think you would find someone, if you find somebody that's doing extremely well, why don't you reach out to that person or find more people like that person and try to lift yourself from there and work on yourself. I will say one of the biggest mantras or things that I subscribe to would be, I don't compare myself to other people. I just compare myself to who I was yesterday. And if you do that every single day, for me, as long as I'm better than I was yesterday at whatever I was working on, to me, that's inspiration. That's coming from within. I'm able to keep that energy and to keep going because I'm comparing myself with myself from yesterday, not with the person down the street that has You'd be amazed at the amount of illusions and deceptions that are out there. You might see, for one, on the West Coast, you might see somebody driving a Mercedes or driving expensive cars, but then they've got an overdrawn checking account. But so is that what it's all about? Everything is not what it seems. But I wasn't. I mean, to be honest, I was not raised to look at other people and envy and be jealous of other people. I wasn't. That's just not the way that I was raised. I was always thankful for what I had, and even if I didn't understand what I had or what I didn't have, I was still able to find joy in just being, and just I was able to find that. So I mean, I just think that I think hatred is something that's hard to. I don't know how to manage hate. I don't. I don't have a prescription for that. I don't have a recommendation for that. But you have a lot of hateful, a lot of bitter, a lot of angry people, and you could give them everything in the world, and the world wouldn't be enough. I think that's kind of comes with to me, the celebrities. I think celebrities, they make tons of money, or they've had stardom and all this fame, and they have it for years and years. But this doesn't make them, they're not happy people. And they're part of the left and their auxiliaries, because those people they get paid to pretend. They get paid to pretend to be somebody else. And that's not reality, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. But some people, they from what I learned, you're not to idolize people. And I think that's what people do. Whether they're idolizing them for talent or because they have money, or for both, either way, I don't idolize people. It doesn't matter with the background. So yeah, and to me, it's across the board. It's not just celebrities. It's not just entertainment. It's politicians. It's, you can have a healthy admiration for somebody, but the idolizing, and it's just not good. It's not good. And then some people can't handle the truth. That's the other thing. Because I think someone once said, once you learn better, you do better. Well, some people, they don't want to do better. They don't want to do better. Because once you get rid of the victimhood, and once you get rid of all of their problems, then who are they? What do they have left? If you strip it all down, then they're looking around. Because I've said this before. Some people, if they don't have enough, if they start feeling like they're running low on victimhood, they'll go and borrow somebody else's. Hey, neighbor, what happened to you this week? Oh, can I borrow that? Can I borrow that victimhood? I'm running low. I'm about a quarter tank. Got a quarter tank left on my victimhood. I got to go over here and borrow somebody else's fast before I run out of something to be angry about. It's kind of it's a little bizarre, but I think something about the brain, I don't know. Sometimes if you get angry, sometimes some people want to stay angry, but you burn it. It burns. You burn it. And if you want to stay angry, what do? You got to go pick up something else. You got to pick up somebody else's problems. And it's not even that you care about that person's problem. You got to keep feeding that victimhood, and you got to appear crying before people, and you just got to keep doing it. It's like an addiction. I'm just thinking, Don't you ever get tired of being miserable and whining and crying? I had a friend, she used to post things all day long. And it's not even her issue. It's somebody else's issue. She would start out with 2 or 3, like, in her feed. It was just like 2 or 3 complaints. And then she'd go from when she would run out of that, you might have a pause, and then before you know it, she's back with something else. Or she needs the chaos and the drama, even if it's not hers. She needs a cause. She's looking, I don't know, it's I don't know. I've said this before that one of the big elephants in the room that we don't really talk about it, and that's mental health in the country. I really believe it. I think May, they started recognizing May is mental health month, but what does that actually do? That's that thing. We're not actually doing anything until we're actually doing something about these issues. We can create months and butterflies, pens and stickers, and you can, but Keith the Face here. Nice to see you. I may plug this in here. Keith the Face says, that's what I've said. If we black folks get reparations, most of them will find other stuff to moan and groan about a week later. All right, Keith the Face. You come in dropping jewels, you do a drive-by on the philosophy, and you run away. Okay. Right? Not running away, but I think you know what I mean. But thank you for the jewels, and have a good rest of the day and weekend. It is a weekend. So that's why I'm probably going to 5 more minutes, guys, 5 more minutes. I'm trying not to go into a rant, but I will say I'm tired of people making excuses. I'm tired of people making excuses about the bad choices that they've made in life. You made bad choices. You made bad choices. Nobody was there with you when you made that choice. Most of the time, you're there by yourself making these bad choices. But you don't want to be held accountable. That's another thing. It's like you have to be held accountable for what you do. You have to be. You have to be. I mean, this is the thing about this. I think that kind of goes back to the whole argument about the family. I had my parents. I had both. I was luckily blessed to have both parents. And I had enough between the parents and then the extended family. You always knew you had a you had a good baseline of what was expected of you. But when were you ever going to do something that was not right and just not get, it's like, oh, you get spankings. I mean, people used to spank their kids back then, Some people say, oh yeah, my mom used to say, go out and get a switch or go out and pick. It's like, no, I never got to pick the pain, the vehicle of pain. No, I didn't get to pick that. I just think that now, like, I've seen comments about certain issues that are going on, and oh, well, they could have waited it until an appropriate time. Like in the movies, what world do you live in? I just think that if you're bad enough, if you're bold enough to do something wrong, you gotta be man enough or woman enough to take it. I said no different than getting a speeding ticket. If you go out here and fly through a 70-mile zone and at 100 miles, you take the ticket. You actually don't have a choice. Take the ticket. But I'm not going to go out here and, I'm not going to go out here and, and do anything that's going to cause me more problems. In fact, I don't know the stats on this, but, you know, people that are, you know, you just I don't know, I just don't know that life. I don't know that kind of resistance because there were consequences for not doing what you were not doing, for one, not obeying, and then doing anything else that you did. You already know. You already know there is a consequence. Shout out to the Blind Guy Show. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you guys for taking care with the channel analytics on the thumbs up, thumbs down. And thanks so much to Chrysler for sharing out the stream. Yeah, but see okay, I'm going back here. Like the rant, you know, it's just, it's just shout out to Sean, touchdown Sean that says, I know exactly what you mean. Wherever you act out is where you got this. Well, it's like, if you didn't get it where you were when you got home, it's like, hopefully they'll forget about whatever I did. And then it'll be, but the fear was there. The fear was real. And I would tell you, my dad, I think my dad was the height of the authority for everybody. Now you could get a spanking or a beating. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not PC. I'm not with the PC police. You get a beating or whatever from your mom. It might not be as bad from the dad, but dad's beatings or dad's spankings, no. So it's just like, who do I want to know that I got? How can I affect who might find out about this first? How can I make that work? And then, like, getting in trouble at school, you don't want somebody coming, you don't want them, oh my God, you had to come to this school, you had to leave your job. If my mom or if my dad has to leave work to come to the school, it's going to be 10 times worse. It's going to be 10 times worse. And you're not going to get a beating in front of the class. Now, I've heard about kids getting that. There were some kids, their parents would get them wherever you acted out. Whereas if you were acting a fool, it wasn't going to last long. It's not going to last long. Because it's usually you're either going to get the look or you're going to get just one thing. Like, it was just something as simple as going to the grocery store. Okay, the budget is this. And they would tell you, this is the budget. This is what we're going to get. So don't get to the store and start asking me for fruit roll-ups and Snicker bars, and don't ask me for all those things. Like, don't ask me, because we're on a budget right now. Chrysler says, let's see. Hold on. I'll get to yours, Crazy Chick. Chrysler says, no, my parents are, excuse me, wait until we get home. Then you really, yeah. Because it's going to be really bad. Oh my God. You said your granddad beat you with a walking cane. Yeah. I'm telling you, like, you would get, they'd be in and out. I mean, you're just going to get it. It's just depending on, and oh my gosh, slamming a door in the house. Oh, you get double teamed then. You get double teamed. You run out the back door. And, well, like, for one, my dad was ex-football player, so that wasn't going to go well. You weren't going to make it. So it just wasn't, and most of these things, I'm speaking about them because they actually happened. And, but, I survived, I'm still here. I didn't go out and, I didn't go out and do anything permanent, I guess, No, I didn't do anything permanent. So, but yeah, I just think that there was just a level of respect for parents and for family that's not there anymore. And I think it's a cultural thing that it's being, shout out to Luciano. Thank you so much, Luciano, for coming in. Yeah, just there were just things that you, as they said, there were just things that you just know not to do. There's certain things it's not going to go well. And you don't want to be embarrassed in front of your friends. And sometimes you're going to get embarrassed, but I remember, if you go out here and embarrass me in the streets, see that was your warning, basically. I don't want to come there and find out that you guys visited so-and-so's homes and you were all over the house and in bedrooms and doing all these things. You just pretty much had a disclaimer. You got a warning for everything that you did. And, it's just, that's just the way that it was. But I'm saying all of this to say, and I'm going to wrap this up and pack it in, fold it in, that that kind of discipline earlier, when you know the expectations and when you know what the authority is, when you learn authority and you learn discipline early, it's really not that hard to adjust to life when life is not so fair. And I've said this before, it's just not in mine. It's not a natural, it's never a default setting to me to just be jealous and envious of other people. It's just not. I think I just always wanted to be treated with dignity and respect. That's all I was asking for. You don't have to like everybody, but you do need to respect them. And I think that's pretty much, that's what I require. And sometimes you don't get that. And that tells you something too, you learn from that too. When you're not getting the minimum that you need, then you need to move on. Or if something's not going well, you have the, have the courage to pick yourself up and try again. Just do it again. Or sometimes you need to step away from something and go back to it. And you just, it's amazing the difference, what a difference it makes to step away from something and return and see how much more clear you maybe are here. And, you have to, sometimes you just need to be in a place to receive things and not act out of anger and emotion. That's one thing I think that, I would work on when it comes to self-help or whatever you want to say. Work on detachment and just work on yourself. Treat yourself as if you're somebody that you care about or, that you want to see be successful, but don't tyrannize yourself. But take time to step back from things sometimes if they're not going well or it's just not turning out the way you want it. But I don't think that's being taught anymore. It's being taught. Things are being taught. It's just the victimhood. It's the transgenerational victimhood. But I'm telling you, I said, and this is out to keep the faith. You'll have people that are going to tell you, they're going to marginalize you and say, oh, because you're Black, you're not going to be able to do this, and that. Well, if you listen to everybody, sometimes you just have to, if you're a child, you have to take, you have to have some discernment, and I think I had some at an early age, because if I listened to everybody that ever told me anything, then I would have shut down a long time ago, would have not done anything. Because even sometimes your parents, if they've come from any of that culture, they've struggled with that themselves. They've struggled with negativity and self and just low self-esteem and people marginalizing them. It's readily available. It really is. I told you, my grandmother told me, oh, you're not going to be able to do that. My late grandmother told me that. And I never challenged her on it because she was an intense personality. She was a strong personality. But I could never really tell if she was serious or if she was, I think she was serious, but in my mind, it's like, yeah, I'm a musician. I don't know if but I was too young to tell. I was too young to say, no, thanks, Grandma. I think I got this one. Because I'm like, I don't understand you don't always throw that out there. So why are you throwing it out there this time? Why does that apply? If I don't win, then that's got to be the reason. But when I'm winning, there's no racism. But when I'm not, but when I am winning, when I am not winning, there is racism. Yeah, that's a confusing message. And so to me, that's like, okay, that can't be right. I got to use my own logic here because that's not right. I'm telling you, I got the reason that I didn't. I'm telling you, I looked at the results myself. But you're telling me that this is because of my skin color that I didn't get that role or I didn't get that position. So yeah, it's tough, but I think we have to make the difference. We have to teach You have to teach kids. You give your kids affirmations. I don't have any kids, but I would say kids need affirmations, but they need to come from the family. Build the kids up. If you're sending them to public school, give them affirmations, give them tools that they need because they're going to be hit with peer pressure. They're going to be hit with all kinds of variables all day long. But you got to build them up. And you pretty much need it if you there's one thing. I have a friend that does this. Write, I don't care. Take your lipstick, ladies, and write a message on the mirror that says, you are more than what you see here, but give it to them so that it's harder for people to knock them down with words. Words build us up, but they say words don't hurt people, but to kids, they do. You need to build them up so that when they go to school or when they go out into the world, that people cannot tear them down with their own darkness or their own evils or their own envy. I'm Yeah, just give them the affirmation. So maybe they won't grow up and say, oh, well, I need BLM. I need a sign that says I can do this or I need that. Just it needs to come from within and it needs to come from, I think, a reliable source. I've had students from all walks of life, but when they were in my care or in my jurisdiction, if you will, then I treated them as if they were my kids. It was more of a maternal instinct that I had. And I'm going to care for all of these kids. I don't care what their background is. If you don't have money for the ball game on Friday night, you don't have to tell any of these kids. You can tell me, or you can tell one of our club members, but you don't have to. It's not about humiliation. If you forgot the money, if you didn't have the money, if your parents didn't have the money, you don't have to talk about this with anybody. Just go let them know and they will make sure you have money. Or you can come let me know and I'll make sure that you have money to buy your meal. But you always want to have kids keep their dignity and their pride intact, even at an early age. And some kids just, they don't, and I'm talking about my teaching days, like my public school teaching days. All kids didn't have money. Some kids didn't have running water. But I had to take care of them because they're in my care on Friday nights or Saturday morning. I don't care what you don't have. You're going to have it if you're with me. I had to do that was just my duty, my personal duty. So I always reminded the kids, like just make sure just let somebody know. Let an adult know what you don't have. One of the club members or let me know. And you'll be all set. So it's just To me, it's like whenever you can give a kid dignity, or if you can give it to them from home, then that kind of arms them up, send them off, make them stronger for the day, because you never know where the next kid's coming from and who's going to, because if you don't teach your kids things, they're going to learn from whomever they're around. And you don't always get to pick. You don't get to pick your kids' classmates. You don't even get to pick the teacher anymore. I don't think. You don't get to do that. So if you are sending your kids back to school, I guess that's just my reference there. Some people don't have a choice. Some people are homeschooling. If you can, I think that's a great idea, a great alternative in many ways. I mean, some people talk about the social. I mean, there's many ways you can socialize, whether it's sports or movies, with other kids, I just think, this is an opportunity to really just kind of reassert yourself into your kids' lives and to know what's going on. Because I mean, these kids are up against a lot right now, guys. I'm so serious. They are up against a lot, and they're not hiding it. The influences. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So this is, I'm sorry, that's not a rant. I'm turning into, I don't know, ex-teacher mode. Ex-teacher mode. I appreciate you guys so much. And shout out to Crazy Chick Sheena. I'm going to read your comment and then I'm going to get you guys out of here. I appreciate you guys for coming in on the 11th hour. I appreciate that as always. You guys are the best. Hope you have a great weekend. She says, I keep my daughter from hanging around. Philip J. Turner said, yeah, I take and give virtual hugs. There you go. Here's a hug for everybody. Shout out to you guys. All right. So I'm going to do this. Let the truth be told, says my son's looking forward to help me mow the lawn. He didn't realize how hard it was until he did it. That's excellent. Well, Philip, I do think that it's important that people learn that people in these times, for people that have kids, they really need, they need some reassurance, or they need some tools. And sometimes, but the thing about it is but this is the danger with that is that you cannot, I don't actually expect a school district or a public school I don't think it's their responsibility to teach. If I had a kid, to teach my kid, I don't think that's their responsibility. No, I don't. If that's something that I share with them, then it's a shared responsibility. Even in the arts, it's a shared responsibility. It's communication. It's engagement. And the smallest things are still communication. So yeah, I'm not exactly ranting. I'm just, I don't know. I think school's starting back, or either people are still making plans about it, or I'm not really sure. Philip says, I need the notation. I need the tool of music notation, charting my songs. Hi, Robert Els. Nice to see you. Thank you for reminding us of very important facts that we should all remember. Are often not the folks in our society. Well, I appreciate that, Robert. I'm just, I've seen a lot of different kids that come out of so many different situations. And in fact, college doesn't really prepare you for all of the things that you might encounter. It's like you got to take it in and then figure out what works, what actually works. And I don't think that teachers should turn into social workers And I'm not advocating for that. No, you need to teach. We need you to stay in your domain of competence and do what you do best so that you can keep educating the kids. But don't turn into a socio-emotional director. And don't say that socio-emotional directors need to be on the front lines instead of the police. I don't agree with that either. I think I did see something like that. It says, did I see the California teacher crying? She can't go home for wearing a B. Wait. She can't go home for wearing. Ay. I didn't see all. I started seeing that, but I didn't finish. I think I didn't even hit the sound on it because I was in another searching for something else, but I just kind of scrolled over it. But I'm sure I'll look it up for sure. But yeah, the UNESCO is what I wanted to get into, but not this stream for sure. Not this stream for sure. So I appreciate you guys, and hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. And well, what is it? It's pretty much afternoon on the East Coast. And I appreciate you guys for coming in. And I'll see you guys in the next live stream, next video in the comments section. Who knows? Depends on what's going on. Who knows? You might get a flash stream again. Also, I will be putting out some videos ASAP. I'm a little bit behind, but I will be putting some new videos out ASAP. And you guys stay vigilant and take care of yourselves. And I appreciate you guys so much for being around on your Friday. All right. Take care, guys.